I just attempted to do a live video for everyone, but the connection was unstable. So I'm going to record this now and share it out so that the same information gets delivered. So the topic of discussion for today, what's come through from my guides, is Galactic Connections. And what's been shown to me very clearly is that when we set an intention, we ask questions, or even if we are just discussing a certain topic, so when we are talking about galactic connections, we are amplifying that thing. And when we do this, we are in essence giving the galactic light beings permission to come in with their energy, with their frequency, and also bringing more information connected to their dimensional planes of existence. Also information regarding our connection with them. For they are our guides, the galactics. They are our multidimensional aspects. They are assisting us in this incarnation within our blueprint, the theme we've chosen to explore with technology that is fine-tuned for us, that is of assistance and perfectly designed for what it is we are here to do and explore. They are here to assist us. And talking about it amplifies the connection. So, what's been shown to me for a while now, and is very clear, is that individuals viewing this who have a resonance with my messaging, and those who choose to book a one-on-one session with me over time, have a very strong connection to the Arcturians. So here's a piece of information for you. If there is resonance with my messaging, then there is a very high likelihood that you have an Arcturian multidimensional aspect, that the Arcturians are one of your guides. So how the prominence with these galactic light beings? So my prominent connection that's come through over the last 2 years are the Arcturian light beings. That is my prominent connection. This is why I say that individuals may resonate with my messaging due to the frequency, the energetic flowing through when I am speaking, when I am expressing myself. The prominence works in this way. We have a direct like-match DNA coding connection with galactic light beings, with these beings of light. And we share different percentages of like-match coding DNA with different connections. The greater the percentage of the like-match coding, the DNA shared with a galactic light being, then the greater the prominence. The more likely that this connection will have more of an influence in your daily life when coming through. That is, in essence, the strongest connection in this now moment. The prominence can change over time. From childhood, someone can have an Arcturian presence with them, can have that connection, even if they're not aware of it. And due to DNA activations that take place over time, we are lighting up our DNA, thus opening up channels of communication with these beings of light, so with that connection and others. So the prominence can shift during our incarnation. Due to divine timing, there is divine timing that takes place within our blueprint. When we have got through something, we have experienced something within our incarnation, and now another connection will come in due to this activation, because there is something else that needs to be explored, where the technology, the fine-tuned technology in resonance with that connection, can come in, that is going to be of great assistance in the individual operating as the unique creative frequency expression. Because everything is energy, as we know, and the frequency that we allow to flow through us with our expression is assisting others with their connections, and also is designed specifically to assist with the Great Awakening, with the ascension of the collective consciousness. So this can change over time. So right now, over the last 2 years, I would say, it could be longer, but over 2 years, the Arcturians This is my prominence. This is the frequency that I bring through. And how it's been shown to me. So individuals have asked me before, and I know this is a question. What does it mean when we go through a DNA activation? So I can explain it to you how I've been shown. So the lights turn on. Our DNA, when we drop into physical form, everything is there. Okay, it's just sleeping. So it's not activated. It is not functioning. Then we will go through the human experience, and in divine timing, we'll go through certain experiences where we will activate ourselves. We will activate our DNA. This can be done in many ways. This can happen through meditation. This can happen through certain practices in alignment with spirituality. This can happen with pure intention and breathing exercises. This can happen through certain plant medicines, going through a certain psychedelic journey. Okay, and in that moment, you are within a frequency. You have given permission by taking the medicine to tap into those energetics, and the guides will come in, the galactics will come in and assist with an activation. So it can happen that way. This is the most common one, the last one I'm mentioning here. There are other ways, but we'll discuss these for now. Is the dark night of the soul. This is extremely powerful when individuals, paradoxically, okay, have gone through extreme trauma, a really difficult and challenging time in their life. During that period, that is when we see individuals wake up, is through the dark night of the soul. This is when the activations take place. The most common theme in terms of the chakra energy centers, okay, which are connected directly with our DNA, is through the dark night of the soul. In the dark, our third eye is activated. This is when our third eye opens. It is through the pressure of the pain that we burst through and break free from the suffering, and we are in essence leveling up to another stage within enlightening ourselves on the journey to self-mastery. So these are the ways in which our DNA is activated. How it's been shown to me, so I can explain, is the lights turn on. Okay, so everyone would have seen this in American movies when it's Christmas Eve and they're about to turn the lights on the house. Okay, everyone's decorated their house. So the individual light bulbs, okay, on the Christmas tree or on the house are the DNA codes within the DNA. And what happens with an activation is, so the light sockets come together in the movies when you see them do this and then all the lights come on. So what happens is an activation takes place in divine timing and boom, the lights will turn on. And this is the connection with our multidimensional aspects, the galactic light beings, the beings of light. The activation allows for that direct line of communication, that connection to come into fruition. That is what happens. The lights turn on. So what was once sleeping, dormant DNA, some people may call it junk DNA, we come in with everything we need and they turn on during certain parts of the journey in divine timing. These lights turn on, what we're ready for. Very often, more often than not, okay, if you're going through a very significant purge stage within your experience, a very uncomfortable state of being, where you're dealing with a lot, this is because an activation is just taking place. So where DNA has been manipulated, okay, which has happened, okay, that's why I've spoken about vaccines before, okay, so I will definitely not take a vaccine ever, because I understand it, because there's an agenda behind it, and it's to do with our DNA, which I've spoken about in previous videos. Okay, so we are clearing up our system. When the lights turn on, our DNA is activated. All the interference, all the density, everything getting in the way from the connection with more of ourselves is now released and purged from our system. Think of it as poison residing dormant within our physical form, that because the lights have turned on, now this poison is being released. Sickness leaving the body, as I have spoken about. Thus, if you're going through a big purge where you're like, what's happening to me? I'm going absolutely crazy here. I'm sick. I'm nauseous. I'm very off balance, like battling to get out of bed. Anything like that, where it kind of comes out of nowhere. The likelihood is that you've just gone through an activation, which is a huge gift. And allowing the energy to move, allowing the process to unfold naturally, will allow for the poison to leave the body. So that connection, that line of communication is unrestricted. Zero interference now. And the information can flow to and from this connection seamlessly, without any resistance. So this is the connection with the DNA. And it's a very common theme for individuals. It's a question I've received. People would like to know their galactic lineage, okay, their galactic connections. I've given you a clue if you resonate with my messaging in the beginning with the Arcturians. Although we all have more than one, and they'll come in at different times during this incarnation, because at different times, a different frequency is required. Okay, there's different information with the different frequencies that will assist us. The technology will assist us with the task at hand. So there is so much assistance, even if it doesn't look like it or feel like it sometimes, on such a grand scale. We have a whole team, every single one of us. And like I speak about, I repeat this, but it is important. The platform, okay, the permission, in order for these connections to really come in strongly and assist us, is that of foundation of integrity. The foundation of integrity. This is the space that we provide. Within integrity, we are operating from a vibrational state of being. We are operating in alignment with the light. Thus, we are creating a space from this state of being for the connections to come in. If we do not act within integrity, okay, I'm not saying we all make mistakes and do those things, okay, we've done it in the past. It's important to forgive the self immediately, okay, that's part of it, all right? But if someone has a serious agenda or chooses not to, so if they are consciously aware of what they're doing is not in alignment with the light, then that guidance from pure frequency, vibrational frequency, is not going to be present in that now moment. So that is why everything is actually simple in this incarnation. We as humans with the ego mind overcomplicate it. All we need to do is be good people. That is it. Be a good person, act in alignment with the light, and the assistance will always be there. Okay, when we don't do that, it is removed temporarily, okay? Because the individual needs to learn a lesson moving down that path, which they will, but at any moment we can choose the light and come back in, and the assistance will be there. So it never completely goes away, but they will keep their distance, because these are extremely high vibrational beings, these beings of light. They operate from unconditional love. So if we're operating from a low vibrational state of being, they are unable to reach us. So there's integrity, the platform for these connections, for the connection with more of ourselves. The permission we give is through the space, and thus everything unfolds and will come in perfectly and naturally. So ask the questions as well for yourself and allow for information if you're interested to know, because when asking these questions, the intentions, like I've said, it will allow the information to come through. It amplifies their presence when we speak about. If you think about anything in life, where attention goes, energy flows. The same principle will apply with galactics. So if we set the intention, we allow the intention to be in a direction in alignment with the light, then thus the light will amplify. Yes, at times, because of this, the light will shine a light on the darkness. So there comes the contrast, like I always speak about. But when we are in the state of being in this alignment, we'll find ourselves understanding that the darkness that we are seeing doesn't have anything to do with us. Yes, through activations and going through this process, the shadow work, as always, we identify, always check in with ourselves. This is a part of the light process. With any interaction is checking what is ourselves, what belongs to me. But when we're acting in alignment, we shift dramatically when this assistance comes in with these DNA activations, and we find ourselves being able to see what perhaps we have thought what was ours, but is not ours. This is where on the world stage in the 3D paradigm in the matrix, where the control comes in, where the trickery, where the dense energetic that has been running people's lives since the beginning of time, we shine a light on it and able to see that that thing doesn't belong to me. I have believed in a lie. This is where we, as portals for consciousness, see the truth of all things when we begin this journey, and it accelerates and it only becomes clearer and more concise. We can identify that does not belong to me. Okay, that belongs to me. I love myself through that process. Thus, we transmute that density, or we integrate the shadow aspect. This is the process, and the Galactics are here to assist us with this all the time. It is on such a grand scale and extremely powerful. Like I've mentioned before, if you are viewing what's happening with the collective at the moment, the distortion, the illusion of what's happening all over the world, in America at the moment, okay, the lies, the trickery, the deception, all of that, none of that matters when you tap into 5D consciousness, when you understand the connection with the Galactics. Because when you choose not to believe that, okay, with knowingness, and no matter what, you follow the path of the light to the best of your ability, what you're doing is you're aligning with God, with the universe. Think about the power, the higher intelligence of these realms, higher dimensional realms of consciousness. It's another level of intelligence. They know everything that is happening with everyone on the earth plane all the time. So the universe will have your back. So who would you rather side with? That is where integrity comes in. Integrity is the slipstream invitation that we are giving ourselves to this realm of consciousness, where the universe, God, source, whatever you would like to call it, the infinite intelligence will have your back. No matter what, always. This is why these connections are majestic, are amazing, are extremely powerful. And yes, there can be time for it to prove itself, but then it will prove itself in many ways, shapes, and forms over and over again. Time in terms of what I'm speaking about is, at times now on the world stage, we're thinking, doesn't look like the light's winning in a lot of areas. Okay? Although there is an ingenious plan, a design, a divine alignment to everything. They know what is happening. They are here to assist. Okay? And patience, trust, and presence will prove it to us. Okay? So this also works with our individual journeys. The connections, their presence, they will show themselves to us, what we're ready for, what we're ready to see, and it will prove itself time and time again with trust. Trust is part of it, integrity and trust. Then that's when the magic happens in our life, no matter what it looks like. Not buying into it. Allow the connections to show us this. Allowing them, giving them permission to come in. So, the Arcturians, a lot of information has come through over the last 2 years. Okay, specifically, like I've spoken about, they're involved with coding the light emissions from the sun that are flooding the earth plane. If you follow me regarding the Schumann resonances, they are involved with the 6D light coding that we are seeing showing up in the purple data patterns on the Schumann resonances. They have extremely advanced technology. They are the ascension magicians. Okay, they perform miracles in our daily life when we allow them to come in, when we trust them, when we trust their guidance. Very often with the galactic guidance, and I'm going to touch on the ascended masters and galactics now, okay? Because some people will differentiate between the two, okay? But I'll touch on that now. So, the Arcturians, the ascension magicians, the 6D light coding, flooding the earth plane. They are activating Gaia. They are activating individuals within the collective consciousness all the time. They are assisting with other galactic light beings, transmuting and releasing density beneath the earth's surface on the earth plane. Okay, they are magicians. They are also guardians. They are working very closely on a collective level, but also with individuals with their creative expression, because this is where the magic flows through. They are very, very gentle, unconditionally loving beings. Their energetic is absolutely beautiful. And what happens is, if an Arcturian light being, and this is something that is important, people will say, why don't I see it right now? Why aren't they standing in front of me? It's because they operate from such a high vibrational state of being, these galactic light beings, from unconditional love, and because we still hold density within our physical form. If they had to show up and we're not ready for it, it would be too overwhelming for us. Okay, it would bring up every last bit of speck of fear within our physical form to the surface, and we'd go into fear. Our system would go into shock. That's why the energetics are being introduced collectively and individually, bit by bit, for what we are ready for. And we get shown what we are ready for. That's why. So they may show up in dream state. Okay, the Arcturians are also able to shapeshift. Okay, because they go from 6th dimension upwards. So when you go above 6th dimensions, you're going into the semi-physical. Okay, that's when we go all the way up into high dimensional planes of existence. We go into spirit form. Okay, where light beings are pure energy. Okay, so in dream state, through cognition, through this communication in dream state, that's one of the forms, they may show up as human. Okay, because the Arcturians, if you saw them in person, they look very different to a human being. So you may be introduced to their energetic, although they may take on a human form. They can take on many forms. Extremely powerful beings. Their ships are ever present now with this ascension. We've shifted into a reality experience where now these beings have come in. Okay, I've seen their ships before. Many of us have, whether we remember or not. So they are right here with us, assisting on a collective level and individually. These are the Arcturians. So, asking the question, talking about it will amplify this present, allow this information to come in. This is how it works with our DNA, which is linked with our chakra energy centers. This is the connection that we have with these aspects. Some other aspects that I have interacted with that may be of interest, okay? Some of them have more prominence with the earth plane with this ascension and consciousness. Okay, namely the Pleiadians that we'll know about, very human, beautiful looking beings of light. Also the Andromedans, the Syrians, the Venusians come in quite strongly. That's one of my aspects, and I've been shown many of those who view this, the Venusian light beings. Okay. Nikola Tesla, the famous inventor, he had a very strong connection with the Venusians. So technology-wise as well, the Venusians and the Arcturians. This is where, since the beginning of time, all these inventions, all the genius, ideas, thought forms of information that's ever come through, all right, is through these galactic connections. Okay, so Nikola Tesla was channeling the galactic light beings. To finish off now, what I wanted to mention about the differentiation between Ascended Master and galactic light beings. In essence, there isn't. They are all galactic light beings. They are all galactics. If you think about Ascended Masters who walked this earth plane, okay, they were human like us, and their DNA was activated. Some would have come in with a higher light quotient. Okay, very high light quotient with not a lot of density to release. That's why very young, early on, they achieved Ascended Mastery. Okay, but they're human beings with their multidimensional aspects, with these connections. So Jesus, Buddha, Mary Magdalene, Kuan Yin, any Ascended Masters walked the earth plane, had galactic connections. It is all galactic. Okay, although some beings of light, like Ascended Masters, have had the human experience. That's why sometimes it may be preferred, more suited to have that connection, that information coming through from those beings of light who've had this human incarnation, because there may be a human task at hand and there's a greater understanding. Sometimes there's other forms of technology from other dimensional planes, from other galactics, that will come through those channels. So it will vary. But in essence, it's still all galactic. That is why the Great Awakening, ascending in consciousness, okay, with religions and any paradigm, individuals will realize the oneness of all things, the galactic nature of all things, and this is unconditional love. Thanks very much, everyone. Have a fantastic week. Cheers.